Hello everybody. Today I look at 3 knives which I bought during a recent short holiday in Spain. The main aim of that holiday was a visit at the world famous El Bulli restaurant. Check my other video clip on that if you're a foodie, because I can assure you it's pretty impressive, that other clip. But in addition to that restaurant visit, we also were able to spend a few days in Barcelona, Girona, etc. And indeed there are a few knife shops there, because in Spain there are quite a number of knife companies. They have really a history of knives, and it must also be said, what I think is typical about the Spanish production is that they offer a reasonable quality price level. In fact, many of their knives are not much more expensive than what you would pay for, let's say, an anonymous Chinese rebranded Magnum, as an example. Also, a lot of the Spanish production are fixed blades and traditional folders. Fixed blades like Muela is a popular brand for decent quality hunting knives. There are other brands like Aitor, Kudeman, Joker. You see several of them. Now, all these 3 are from Nieto, founded by Miguel Nieto in the 1950s. In my opinion, they look better than most of the other Spanish knives. By the way, I looked here meanwhile also at the website. So mnieto.com. It's worth a visit, with here a picture of the founder, who founded Nieto in the 1950s already. And you could say they are still going strong. They have really quite a wide range, and as I mentioned, a few interesting ones. So 2 fixed blades and 1 very elegant folder. Let's first look at the fixed blades, and particularly at this one. This is a knife from the so-called Chacal, like Chacal, like the animal series. All the knives in the series feature this quite special wood. You see, it's a brown wood with very small stripes in it. They call it Pagawa wood, and I have no idea what it refers to. I mean, I couldn't find anything back on that, so perhaps one of the viewers has more background about this wood. I couldn't find anything back about that. You see here in this cut that it's all those black lines, you could say, and I think it looks tremendously nice. So I will show you briefly the others of the series, because like many Spanish companies, they have many Spanish knife companies, they offer a whole series, their knives in several series, and here you can see the Shakal series all has similar kind of blades. Handles, I mean. It's typical hunting folders, you could say. However, the one that I have, that's this one, the 11035, with this drop point blade. It's quite a universal little outdoor knife. I also had the top one in the hand, which looks very nice, but the handle was in fact a bit too short to be really comfortable. You can immediately see some numbers. The blade is 9 cm long. The total is 18 cm, and it is already 154 grams heavy, because indeed this is a full tang knife, as you can see, for sturdiness. It's full tang, so that means that the blade really goes until the end, and then you have always the heavier knife, but also a very sturdy knife. And I really particularly liked, well, not just the look, which I think is pretty nice, but how it's in the hand. With, you see, your first finger here will never slide on the blade. Just jimping at the 2 sides, so you are really, your fingers are really well, grip it very well. It's true that this is a pretty smooth, polished kind of wood, meaning that well, it's not like gripping it of G10, but with this jimping, I mean, you have a safe hand holding. I already so these 3 knives, I have them since a short while, so I did not yet do a lot of work with it, but I did some lighter cutting. For example, with this one, a bit of food prep to see how would that go on a holiday, for example. And because the blade is so high, the smaller things you can cut pretty well with the smaller parts here. And then it gets a bit wider. Well, it's true that things like tomatoes and so on, it's more like a wedge that you drive to them. But it is still a pretty universal knife, I would say. Balance is pretty good. It's not exactly light. I mentioned that 154 gram, but quite a nice balance. I like this one a lot. It comes with a leather sheet. And by the way, also made in Spain. They are very proud. They write that on their website and also in a little brochure. I come back to that they are very proud that they make everything in Spain. It's nothing imported. So also the leather sheet is made there. So I just put it in, just to show. It fits well. It's quite a neutral sheet, I would say. And here you can put your belt through. So it's far from, you could say, the tactical style with all black kydex and so on. Now, this is a general outdoor knife with a good look. I come back now to the blade and the steel. By the way, this the blade seems to me, it was not in the fact sheet there that you saw on the website, but I have the impression that it's slightly more than 3 mm, between 3 and 3.5 mm thick. So it makes it pretty sturdy. Now the blade itself, this is the little folder you have with it, and it says that the wood is Pagawa wood. Again, I don't know what it is. Leather sheet. And then here the steel, AN58 inox, meaning stainless. AN58 is a proprietary steel mix, you could say, from Miguel Nieto. I've not seen it anywhere else. And here you see the composition of the blade steel. They also say that the hardness is between 58 and 60. So it is really pretty hard. Now, when you look at the composition, when you look at the carbon 0.45 is in percent, the chromium 13.5%. The vanadium 0.015. Well, it's difficult to put exactly put it exactly in comparison. I have the impression, and I checked that with other opinions, that it's like a high quality 420. You know, 420 is the basic steel, but Buck has that 420 HC steel, and I have the impression it's more like that. So it's a decent quality, lower mid-range steel. But then again, these knives are pretty cheap as well. So while the numbers would say it's probably a bit below 440A, like you get in a Magnum, in practice I don't think it's the case. It's more or less the same in edge holding in practice. But as I mentioned, I used it lightly, but I have this, even from this lighter use, I have this feeling that it's pretty okay for general use. And what is good also with this kind of steel for the let's say those which are not so much into knives, that you can very easily sharpen them. That is usually for many people an advantage. So yes, the ground here, it's hollow from here onwards, so it's not a flat ground from there on, it's a hollow ground. I really like this one. I like also drop points. Allows for really precise work. I like that. Bon, so that's this one, the first one. That was the Shakal 11035. Nice general utility blade. Then here, the Traveler. I would say, I think it's a well chosen name. It's a kind of a general outdoor knife, very good to take on a holiday. Also 9 centimeter blade with the same thickness. And indeed, while it looks slender, you see here, the blade length is indeed the same as with the heavier one, with a more imposing blade. So a more slender outdoor knife, you could say, with a nice curly birch handle. Same steel, so all the three knives have that AN58 steel. I like the Traveler a lot. I have here also on the iPad from their catalog. In fact, so it's the largest of 3 travelers. You can see they make 3 travelers in size, including a pretty small one of 6.5 centimeter only, the blade. This one 7.5 centimeter, the medium one, that's 3 inches, and the one that I have 9 centimeter, so let's say it's 3.70 inches long, same as the Pagawa one. And it's 130 grams, it's indeed a bit lighter than the other one, totaling 21 centimeters. So, okay. I think this is, and it's also, I mean, the 130 grams, it's pretty light, eh? It's like, I believe that my military, Spyderco military, is more or less the same weight, so it is a full tang blade, but and also very nicely balanced. In fact, it is true, while the hand holding of this is fantastic, for the lightness of this one makes it also very attractive. With here also a bit of jimping at the top and at the bottom here, the bottom, the ricasso, so you can hold it close without being afraid of really cutting yourself. And yeah, it's a pretty nice thing, this one. I like it. The wood makes it is a bit similar to what you find in Scandinavian blades, but the total effect is not Scandinavian at all. I think it looks, well, I cannot really put a country on it, but I think it's simply an elegant, no-nonsense knife. It also comes with a leather sheet, similar in color. So, which, well, it's simply an okay sheet, as you can see. And here you can easily put it through your belt. What you have with both sheets, of course, because there is no mechanism that allows for a bit of turning, so it's always straight down your leg, so if you're going to sit, it can be a bit uncomfortable, such a knife. Well, I would rarely, if I use such a knife outside, let's say a barbecue, if I take it on a walk in the outdoors, I would probably rather put it in my day pack and then take it. So that is, it's because I wouldn't use it all the time. So that for me it's less of an issue. But yeah, you can see pretty well made and also a good quality price. So both knives, by the way, are around 40 euros. This one a bit less, 38 or so, and this one was 42 or something. I forgot exactly how much. So I think the quality price is definitely there. They also make, I forgot to say, that they, I have the impression that they make knives for other companies as well, to say something about the quality impression that they must give to other manufacturers. Because, you know, the German brand Puma, they have an international program series, and I have the impression that at least one of them looks quite a bit like the folder. So this folder from Nieto is from the Rock series, but they have several folders that look more or less the same with different handle materials. I go back here before I look closer to my folder. Go back here to the iPad to show. Okay, so you see this is the Rock series with wooden handle. And here this is the one, well, in fact it should be the one that I have, this one, 94 grams, 3-inch blade, 17 centimeter in total. What they didn't measure is the blade width, it's 2.5 millimeters, so makes for good slicing, because it's not so thick. So you see here variants of this blade, and they have many others as well with olive wood and so on. Then they are not called the Rock, they can be called Scout, as an example, 158 steel, and here you see the kind of materials that they are made from. But you see there is some difference between mine, which is indeed called Rock. You can see it here on the blade, and that one. Have a look. Mine has a nail nick and a more classic blade. This one, the one on the catalog, doesn't have a nail nick. And there's a somewhat different grind here, false edge at the beginning at the top. Maybe that this one is the new version and that I've got a previous version that I bought here in the shop. It's possible. And also you see here towards the end, this one in the online catalog has 3 pins, mine has here 2 pins. The other two are more or less the same. But okay, I think whatever, if it's the latest version or not, I think this is really a lovely little companion knife. It's Spanish, but in general the style, it could have been French, you know. Well, you could say French classic, non-tactical French and Italian and Spanish pocket knives, they have often a certain elegance to them, and I think this is no exception. Notice here some nice structure work. It's not really file work if it's as industrial as this, but it makes the feel quite nice in the hand. It doesn't add grip here, but it's simply a good feel. The handle, black buffalo horn. I like that. It gives that sleek, somewhat at first sight it's a bit plasticky, you could say, but it gives a nice feel. You have to watch out with this kind of material. It's a natural material that you don't soak the knife in very hot water, because it may tear. Then you can get you can really damage the scales. So if it becomes wet, pat it dry. That's important. Yeah, it's not so much to say. It's a backlog, as I mentioned already. I think it's very nicely centered. You see, this knife was 50 euros, and that's one of the more expensive Nieto pocket knives. And that's because of the quite luxurious handle material. If you would take a roughly similar one with olive wood handle, it would be around 20 euro cheaper. So, I mean, these are really good prices. If you know how expensive knives are typically in Europe, these are really pretty good. It is true, when I open it, it could have been a bit slicker, the feel that you have there. It's true that the Cali 3 of Spyderco, it opens up a bit, which is also backlog, opens up a bit smoother. Here you feel a bit of resistance here at this point, which is a bit a strange feeling, but still it's nice, and you see it has good retention, so it makes it quite safe. And the curve here also is good for the hand holding. So, and again, yes, I think I've said everything about this one. In short, I think you should it's worth to investigate Spanish knives, I would say. I think in America, World Knives has some Nieto, I believe. And there are other shops as well. Let me see here if I see Contact. No, I couldn't find. I'd hoped to find immediately an importer on the iPad, but I couldn't. So, I hope you found this interesting. A modern, no-nonsense outdoor brand with very good quality price. Steel, you could say, not high-end steel, but very usable and easy to sharpen. But it translates in an extremely good quality price. A remarkable wood that you won't quickly find otherwise. Interesting models, I think. Non-tactical at all, purely utility. Very well finished, all of them. You notice there are no things sticking out there. And one of the more elegant folders, which I can really recommend. So, as usual, feel free to leave feedback.